Let's set up on our backs with a little back support. So if you wanted to, you can have your 2 blocks or a bolster or some way that it feels comfortable to set up on your back. Great. And let me just
happened here?
Go ahead and mute everyone for now. Super duper. So go ahead and here, we'll just take a couple minutes to get comfortable with some back support, whatever that's like for you this morning. And having strap close. Maybe wiggle or stretch. We'll focus for the time being on opening up across the chest. Maybe look back and forth. Roll the shoulders down and away. And as we settle, just to get a little bit more comfortable, we're going to squeeze and then release our arms and legs and then whole body. So once you're down, we'll start with the right arm. Just lift it slightly, hug all the muscles to the bone, and we'll do it 3 times and then release the arm down. Lift, hug, squeeze, and release just that right arm 1 more time. And then let the right arm be still. We'll do the same thing with the left arm. Lift, hug, all the muscles to the bone, and then release. So a little bit different way of checking in. Lift, hug, squeeze, and down. Right leg, lift, hug, squeeze, release. Trying to get all the way from the buttock all the way to the toes. 1 more time. And then the left leg. And down, and then we'll do arms and legs together 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Just let your body relax. If you wanted to, you could put hands on the belly. And we'll start our back breathing here. You'll focus on breathing into the space between the shoulder blades as you inhale. And then softening the low back as you exhale. And that might mean some wiggling happening. Inhale, like you're pressing the space between the shoulder blades into your prop or floor. And exhale. Three more breaths like that. And then go ahead and reach the arms above the head. So depend on where you are. If you wanted to, you could rest them on the prop or let them kind of hang a little bit, but get that sensation of reaching back. And maybe wiggle the hips down so you have a full body extension. And here we're going to do 5 breaths into the belly. So breathe like I did to exhale through the mouth. Big breaths into the belly. Two more rounds of breath. And then you can let the arms come down. Feel free to slide the heels in and windshield wipe for the legs back and forth for a moment. And then we're going to roll off of our prop, but think about which side you want to roll to. And then go ahead and roll to that side. And then make a plan for how you're going to sit up. Go ahead and do it, pressing down the lip. And we're going to bring the legs out in front. So if you have something like a blanket that you want to put underneath the knees, go right ahead. It's going to put nice stuff. You can pull the flesh away from the sits bones, but we're going to start before coming into a forward fold or even using anything with Dandasana, where we press down into the floor. Now, it'll just depend on your arm length, kind of how you're made. So you might want to use some blocks underneath the hands to press down. That might feel better. So you get the sensation of reaching up through the crown of the head. The elbows could be bent, or hands to the floor, and the shoulders would come down more. So we're just going to spend a moment here and look at your feet. So for me, naturally, I kind of pigeon toe when I'm in this shape. So I'm going to make some adjustments here. You may be rolling the inner thighs together and reaching out through the heels so that your toes face the ceiling. And once you have that, couple of deep breaths. Like you're reaching through the crown of the head, maybe the chin tucks slightly. And the navel starts to pull back on your exhale. And in about a moment, if not already, it feels like quite a bit of work. Two more breaths. And then release. Maybe roll through the ankles, the neck, and the shoulders. One option could be, as we move into a forward fold, you could pick up a block and squeeze the block between the inner thighs. I'm going to do that. And it could be at the wide or the narrow. I'm going to choose the narrow. Reset my feet. Like I said, I like to pigeon toe. So I'm resetting my feet. And then maybe pick up your strap and strap over the foot. Yeah. You can play with where you want the strap. I'm going to choose the ball of the foot just so I get that feedback like I've been talking about, trying to readjust. And once you feel pretty set up here, then you'll start to hinge at the waist and come forward. Rather than rounding, try and draw the chest forward, and you might just come forward a little bit. I've got all kinds of props to support my legs. I'm just going to about where you start to have the sensation of stretching with the low back and the leg. And we'll hang out here for a moment. Scotch. Chill. So it should be about 5 breath counts. Another 5. Make any adjustments. You want to squeeze a little bit more if you notice you're kind of getting a little floppy. And then we'll come out, slide or come up. And here we'll bring the soles of the feet together and the knees apart. You can utilize any props that you want to. And we're just going to get some movement in the hips with our butterfly. So bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart, and just start to move through the legs. You're going to find a side stretch from here. So you can begin to rock back and forth. I think from the side you can see it. I might have to. And then rock off to one side. And then you'll take the opposite hand. So I'm off to the left, and I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put a little pressure on the inner thigh as I keep my weight off to one side. I'll turn the front so you can see. I'm going to rock to one side, bringing the hip up, and then I'm going to slightly press away. And for me, I can feel it along the side waist, kind of anchoring down the left side of my body. A little pressure on the inner right thigh. You can release and come up. And flap, 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 flap. And then we'll rock back and forth. And switch sides. So I'm anchoring down my right side and pressing down and away on the left. And then come on back up. We're going to assist the legs together, holding on to the backs of the thighs for a seated cat-cow. Try and keep the soles of the feet, the whole foot planted rather than rocking onto the heels. So once you have those feet down, and rocking back and lifting. Doesn't have to be very big. Move through the spine. We'll try and get maybe 8 to 10, and then we'll rock all the way down onto your back. Coming all the way down. And then once you're down, maybe you want to windshield wiper the legs again. We'll let both knees come off to the right and roll to the right. And then peel the left arm open for your twist. Another opportunity to use a block, maybe underneath one of the knees or underneath the shoulder, but use a prop if you'd like to, as you find your first twist. If you're feeling a little bit stuck in the low back, you can tip the tailbone back and forth a couple of times. If you wanted a deeper sensation, maybe take that lower foot and place it on top of the thigh. Just explore the limits of this twist right now. Something that you can sustain. Go ahead and unwind all the way back over to your side, then roll through center. Windshield wiper the legs back and forth so you get to your second side. Rolling all the way over. And create the twist here, maybe a little bit different. If you can find more space in the low back. Unwinding back to center. You can hug the knees into the chest and roll on the low back for a moment. One way and the other. We're going to keep a hold of the right leg and either plant the left foot or extend the left leg. See if you can roll the shoulders back down. So you can hold on to the knee. That would be one version as you take an inhale and exhale, curl up. Another version could be reaching the arms above the head and then reaching for those left toes. The inhale, extend, and exhale, come up. Another version would be to hover that left leg. Start to reach, curl up. Inhale, extend, and exhale, curl. Wherever you are, still try and hug the right knee up towards the head. One or two more. And then we'll re-hug that right knee in. And just lift and lower the left leg. So you could point the toes as you lift and then flex the foot as you come down. Another option here is to hover the head, neck, and shoulders. So you can see how that changes the experience. Now the next time that the left leg comes down, we'll plant the right foot. Take a nice big stretch. We're going to keep the right foot planted. Maybe bring the arms back down as we lift into a bridge, one-legged bridge. Tucking the tailbone, press away. We'll lift and hover the left leg. So the tailbone is long, reaching forward. You might be a little bit lower, and that's time just lifting the leg up towards to parallel with the right knee. And if you wanted to add in, dip the hips down and lift up. Using that platform of the foot, squeeze the inner thighs together. And we'll all bring the hips down, plant the feet, either windshield wiper, hug the knees in, feet wide, knees come to touch, any version that feels restorative for your back. Nice deep breath. And we can go ahead and switch sides. Left knee into the chest. We're going to be curling nose to knee first. So decide if you want to extend the leg, reach the arms above the head, and when you're ready, start. Inhale, exhale. You can always switch. Just about 10. And once you come down with the chest, the lifting, and then pointing the foot down. Flex lift, point down, maybe, hover. One more. Bring the right leg down, plant the left foot. Set up the back for your one-legged bridge. The tailbone lift. And then if you like the hip dips, go right ahead. The hips come down and the feet come down and take a rest. Go ahead and roll off to your right side. I'll bring the forearm down and press down. Extend the legs, finding a balance. You can look down and see that your hips are stacked and that you're basically in one line. Let the head drop down. And we're going to slide the top leg off in front just slightly, point the foot, and then we're going to lift and lower that leg. Getting some good stretch all along the inner thigh. Keeping up with the balance. Keep going. Five more. Come on back down. Curl onto your side for a moment and rest before switching sides. Setting up on your second side. Make sure that you feel stable on that lower shoulder, as you let the side waist drop down, making sure that you've got the balance, the hips are in one line, and then we'll slide that top foot forward slightly and lift and lower. So everything that's touching the ground, nice and heavy, feeling anchored. Just 5 more. Then we'll rest on the belly for a moment. Come on down to the stomach. Taking the legs as wide as feels comfortable. Stack the hands, maybe wiggle the tailbone. And we'll rest on the stomach. Coming into your Sphinx pose, slide the elbows underneath the shoulders and bring the arms parallel. So here, thinking about what we did earlier with the feet, the same idea. Notice if you have a tendency to roll the elbows out, which is what I do. So hugging the skin and inner seams of the arms together. And then decide how you want your feet. You might want to have the feet flipped over and the legs wide, or the toes curled under. So there's engagement through the thighs. And once you're there, we're just going to start to nod the head. So you're going to draw the chin in as you roll down. And then peel and looking up as much as works for you. Tuck the chin, roll. And then peel up. I'm just exploring how this works for your neck and your back. One more and then we'll take a rest again. So you can relax the legs, relax the arms, maybe look back and forth. Couple breaths into the belly, wiggle the tailbone. And back to that Sphinx pose. Again, roll those inner arms together. And this time we're going to lift up the right leg, like you're reaching the toes back and up. So the leg is engaged, and try and keep the left leg where it is. And the hips on the floor. If this is causing your back any pain, come on back down, maybe forehead even to the floor. And if you feel okay, you're going to crawl the left fingertips out. So you're pulling diagonally across your body. Another breath. And we'll unwind all the way back. Relax, release, back. Setting up for your second side. Stable upper body. Pointing the left toes, little lift of the right side of the body, relax. Maybe crawl the right fingertips out. Breath into the belly, wherever you are. And then come on down and relax Maybe you want to windshield wiper the feet. Staying on our stomach. We'll bring those arms back to their Sphinx pose. And you might want to slide them out and back a little bit more. Or maybe you want to keep them where they are as we lift, try to lift the chest and then come down. So a little mini back bend. So rather than just the nose, we're peeling up, pressing down, lifting, and coming down. Another opportunity to explore curling the toes under. Couple more, and then we'll do one more thing on our bellies, and then come to the knee. Relax. Wiggle the tailbone. We're going to play with half frog. So if you have a block close and you want to use a block, go right ahead, or your rolled up blanket. You slide the right knee off to the side. Maybe the knee in line with the hip. And a blanket underneath the knee or even underneath the inner thigh might feel good for support. You could just hang out here. Or back to your forearms. If that feels okay. Trying to keep your muscles loose. And we're going to turn this into a twist by feeding the left arm underneath the gate of the right arm. And then allowing the chest to twist open so the leg can kind of flop and follow. And unwind. We'll start all over again on the second side. Relax the chest down. And then left knee slides out to the side. Using all the props that you need to. Maybe coming up to your back bend. And then twist, feed the right arm underneath, and peel your chest open. Unwind, back to center, and a child's pose, or just lifting the hips, staying on the forearms, and bring your bolster back in, and release the chest onto the bolster. Maybe wiggle the hip. And we'll find our downward facing dog. Moving props out of the way. Another option here is to pick up your blocks and place the blocks underneath the hands as long as you don't have a slippery surface. So you could have blocks underneath the hands and curl the toes under, press down. Find your version of downward facing dog. Wiggle the hips, try and stretch out the backs of the legs. Feet can be wide, knees can be generously bent. Then we'll travel the hands and feet together to find a forward fold. Maybe you want to bring the blocks with you. We're going to find our chair pose by dropping the hips down and reaching them back. And hands to the blocks if you prefer, or squeeze those inner thighs together and lift. We're going to travel between forward fold and our chair pose. So you can exhale, find a forward fold, release for a moment and wiggle. And then using that whole platform of the foot, soft toes, reach the hips back, chair pose. Or you're keeping the hands and you're just playing with the knees bending. We'll forward fold. Take a breath or so. Sit back into your chair pose. One more time, forward fold. Big inhale, exhale to release the spine. And sit into chair pose. Press the ground away to stand. Take a nice big inhale. And exhale the arms down. We'll pause standing. Take a few neck rolls. Draw circles with the nose. Switch direction. And then roll through the shoulders. Switch directions. And I'll reach the arms out and then create a cactus shape. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and peel the chest up just like you did on the ground. You have a sensation that someone's giving you a little bit of pressure onto the forearms. Let the shoulder blades slide down so you can feel the opening across the collarbones. And then we'll fold the arms together and forward fold. Sit back into your chair pose. And then from your chair pose, drop the arms down to cactus. That same sensation. So we have a little bit of a back bend. And then we're going to round fold the arms together like you're opening and closing a book. Seated in your chair pose. Squeeze and then together. One more. Fold into your forward fold or supported forward fold. We'll come back up into chair pose. And this time we're going to inhale, lift. And exhale, forward fold. And then create our halfway lift. Slide the hands up to the thighs, press the hips back, reach to the crown of the head. And play with hugging the inner thighs together. Notice that that changes your stability or experience. If you feel okay there, maybe reach the arms out in the front. Press the ground away. Inhale up. And exhale. Arms come down. Again, roll through the shoulders. Shake the legs out. We'll use our blocks out in front as you take a wide stance. We'll bring the heels in and bend into our high squat. So you might notice that your bottom wants to come out. You could even take a hand to the low back. So if you're like this, you take a hand to the low back and tuck the tailbone under. And then we'll bring the arms out. Peeling one heel up and then tap it down. Peel the other heel up and tap it down, back and forth. If you need to hold on to the wall, go ahead and hold on to the wall. Keep going. Both heels down, squeeze the inner thighs together and reach up, nice full body reach. Inhale and then exhale, back down. And we're just gonna drop the hips as low as they can go and come up. Little bounce, slow, controlled bounce. One more. Come on up. Nice big stretch. Maybe wiggle the hips. Okay. Last one. We'll come down. Now take a peek here and notice if you can see at least your big toe. If your knees have started to kind of peel in, you make sure that the knees are about in line with the toes. Come on up, or hands wherever you'd like. You can peel one heel up or both heels up, and then we're going to bounce again. Controlled bounces. And let the heels come down, arms come down, roll through the hips, maybe shake the legs out. Okay. So for our next leg thing, it's going to be one leg going across the body to swinging. One option, again, if you're close to the wall, is to hold on to the wall. And just be mindful of what's in front of you. We want to go across the body so that your hips come forward and then open. And it doesn't matter kind of how many times you do it. And if it's useful, you'll bring the arms in as well. So we did all that hip work. We're just kind of loosening things back up. If you get one or two, great. If you get 20, that's awesome. Whatever. Just have that the swinging sensation. Let's do another 2 or 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and then shake that standing leg out. We'll switch. We're going diagonally across the body. The foot hip opens and then closes. And 3, 2, 1, done. Shake your legs out. We're gonna get to the floor the way that we got up. If you want to use your blocks, go right ahead. We'll do a couple of half sun salutations, just 2, and then to downward facing dog. Go ahead and set yourself up. And breathing in, sweep the arms up together. Breathing out, find a forward fold. Breathing in, halfway lift. Breathing out, forward fold. We're going to come to our chair pose as you breathe in. And then exhale to stand. Inhale, let the arms come down. And exhale, pause. Again, just like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale to stand. Inhale the arms down. And exhale, pause. This time to downward facing dog instead of our chair pose. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway left. And then as you're exhaling, and feel free to take a couple of breaths, either hands to the blocks or to the floor. Press the ground away and walk back to your inversion. Feel free to be on the knees instead, or knees bent. We'll stay here for another couple of breaths. And then if it's available, drop to the knees. If it's not available, walk your way down, whatever works best for you. We'll go ahead and swing the legs around. We're going to move into a forward fold. If the legs crossed feels great, then do that. And you could bring your bolster with you to lean on. And you have your blocks. So if your legs are crossed, just notice which shin is in front. If the soles of the feet are together and the knees apart, that's fine as well. So we'll let the head hang. A simple forward fold. Come on, back up. If the legs were crossed, you'll just switch which leg is in front. If you had the soles of the feet together, knees apart, you can come back into that. Or maybe you want to take the legs wide. Decide what shape you want to be in for another 10 breaths here, forward fold. Hey. Honey, I got class. Okay. And then come on up. Wherever you are, bring your legs out and we'll wiggle and shake. And we're gonna come back onto our backs. So one option, if you really enjoyed the supported back bend, go ahead and do that. Another option is to kind of go the other way with either the bolster underneath your knees, or a nice one is blocks for the feet and then the bolster. So the legs are up quite a bit. You can even bend the knees, really allowing the low back, since we did all that hip and inner thigh work, to relax. So create the right shape for you right now. And you can roll through all the major joints, roll through the wrists and the ankles. Maybe another stretch, wiggle the hips, drop the arms back down, and start to settle in. Once you've got your body settled, we'll draw awareness back to the breath, whether that's hands on the belly or the chest and the belly. We'll do a 2-part inhale, exhale. So it may be useful to have the hand on the chest and the belly. Well, imagine that as you inhale, you start to fill up the top portion of the lungs, and then work your way down so the whole upper body feels full of breath. And then see if you can keep breathing diaphragmatically so that your second half of the breath fills up the belly. So that's 1, 2, and then you'll exhale from the belly, and then like you're draining the lungs from the bottom to the top. Exhale. So inhale, fill the lungs, pause, and then continue to inhale, fill the belly, pause, exhale belly, pause, exhale chest, pause. Keep going with this 2-part breath. Inhale, take a little pause between. And exhale. Keep going. If you're finding that you're creating tension in the face, try and soften. Maybe don't breathe so deeply for a moment. And see if you can allow the body to relax in those pauses. Four more rounds. Last round. And then release that shaping of the breath. Allow yourself to relax for a little while longer, another 5 rounds of breath. Slowly start to roll through the ankles and the wrists, maybe looking back and forth, nodding the head. Full body stretch and wiggle. If your legs were up on the bolster prop, bring them back down. Rolling to one side. And slowly come up. Once you're up, a couple of neck and shoulder rolls, or nod the head. That feels good. And then we'll end by taking a nice big sweep and reaching. Big inhale. Exhale through the mouth. You bring the hands together or over the heart. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your practice this morning. And then we'll send gratitude to each other as we got to share this time and this practice together. An acknowledgement to these teachers and these different practices that have traveled through so many years and bodies, and we have the honor and privilege of working with them today. It's a beautiful day here in Missoula, and I hope you all get to enjoy it wherever you are. Thank you.